everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm going to first start with introducing the two speakers. Then on my left, it's Noémie Lambert.
Hello.
She's first of all a musician, a drummer, which is important. We're going to see it why. To talk about new musicians, we're going to see it with Dorian, who has another cap. She studied digital marketing, starting out a career with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. After that, she moved to Spotify France. And now she's working in Universal Music France. At first, she was put in charge of the playlist service Dixter. And now she's managing Spinnup France, a digital distribution platform for up-and-coming artists. On my right, Dorian Perron, the co-founder of Groover, the web platform which reinvents music promotion. This platform allows musicians and their representatives to easily contact media outlets, radio record labels, and music pros. So the artists are guaranteed to be listened and to get at least written feedback and often more reviews, playlist ads, meetings, etc., etc. Then the platform is now used by thousands of musicians around the world, and Groover even won the Mama Festival Coup de Coeur last year. Then the subject of this panel is how to get noticed in this global ocean of music by the medias, by the labels, by the playlist curators, the venues, the festivals, and first of all by the audience. And how these new technologies we're going to talk about help the industry to do it. Then to start, Noémie, can you explain us the way Spinnup is working and how this technology helps music projects to grow or at first to be simply known? And I'm going to ask you also, following your experience in Universal and Spotify, how these big companies, these giant companies, are putting space for these new artists in their own big ocean.
I think that today these big companies realize that there are many possibilities for artists to create music and promote it directly from their room. And so it changed the market because they need to have an eye in everywhere and even in the room of the artist. So how to do that? To imagine a way to connect with them directly from their creation. And so the distribution can be the answer, because when you're like just creating your music and you don't know how to get noticed, how to be just listen, the first idea that you will have is, I need to be available, I need to be on the platforms, I need to be there need to be a possibility for everybody to listen to my music. So distribution is the first step, and that's why big companies like Universal decided to have a platform like Spinnup, because it's an easy way to have the new musician and to have an access to their music. So Spinnup, how does it work? It's like when you do music in your room or in your garage or everywhere, and that you want to be on Spotify, Deezer, Apple, Napster, everywhere, you can't access that directly with Spotify or Deezer, so you need to be distributed. And there are many aggregators. I think this is the name for the like basic distribution. And Spinnup is one of them. So you just upload yourself your music on Spinnup, and then like 48 hours after, it's on the platforms. The only thing that you need is that your music is okay with Spotify and Apple Music guidelines, that you are audible, that you have a great cover, that everything is okay to be distributed. But you can do basically any kind of music. There is no curation on the distribution. But the curation and the interest of Spinnup is that the curation is after. So, for example, my everyday job is to listen to the projects upcoming on Spinnup and distributed every day, and select the more interesting in different aesthetics. So it can be rap, it can be rock, it can be pop, everything you want. And in Universal, send this music to different A&Rs in different labels. For example, if it's rap, I may send it to Def Jam or Capitol. If it's pop, I may send it to Berkeley or Mercury. So I need to know what kind of music every label are looking for. Even if today it's hard to put it in a special aesthetic, because each labels are looking for many kind of music, and sometimes A&R decide to meet musicians and to sign them. And another thing that we are doing with Spinnup, because we realize that it's a good promise, but it's like a little part of the artists we have on the platform who can access that. We decided to put them in light in another way, like the live. And so we are doing some venues with like the artists that we prefer, or a partnership with festivals. For example, we had a big contest last year to play at Le Printemps de Bourges or Les Bars en Trance in France. It's a festival really interested in emerging bands, and many A&R are there to just outsource projects. And so it's cool for like bands who are nobody or who just begin their artistic career to have an access to a big stage like that.
But then we can say that Universal Network helps these people to get noticed by the good labels, the right labels for them. And can we also call these new curators the virtual talent scouts 2.0?
You talk about like the playlisters, yeah, because I was talking about the network between labels and artists, but the opportunity of being on Spotify, Deezer, and everything is before that, just to be, for example, in the radar of these new curators. So for sure, playlist editors. But we think about the big ones like Spotify or Deezer editors, but there are many little like influencers or like just users who have big playlists who will be able to start a little bit like improve the numbers of stream, or just put the artists in the algorithm of Spotify because they are just a little bit more streamed. And for that, if you just want to have this opportunity, you need to be on the platform. So it connects between Dorian and I, because you need to be available and you need to be in the radar, and then you need to be pushed. So at first Spinnup and then Groover to have that.
Then let's come to Groover. At the beginning, you yourself working on an indie blog media called Indeflagration.
Yes.
On va le dire en français.
Ouais, c'est mieux.
You founded, and you know well the role of curator of a new artist. You also managing young artists, new bands, and now, and then you had this impression it was something missing.
Yeah, to be more specific, I met with the other co-founders of Groover in Berkeley in California. And when we met, two of the co-founders, Romain and Jonas, were musicians themselves, and I had a music blog. And we realized that we had issues in getting in touch with each other on both sides. So artists, they had two ways of doing it. Either they were hiring a PR officer, which was complicated because most PR officers receive so many submissions that they reject a lot of them, and it's a huge investment, and if you're not ready, it's complicated. And the second way was to send by themselves hundreds and thousands of emails to these creators we're talking about, the Spotify playlisters, the blogs, the radios. And the thing was that they were getting no answers at all. So it was like a musician sending thousands of emails, like a bottle in the sea or message in a bottle, and not getting answers. And on the other side, as a music blog, I receive we have like 3,000 Facebook likes on our page, so it's a small blog. And I think I receive around 100 emails per day of artists sending their music to me to listen to it. And it was something I was doing on the side. So I totally dumped my email inbox and was like, okay, I don't know how to manage it. So what we wanted to do is a way for musicians to send their music, to have their music listened, to get some feedback, and for the music influencers, so these curators, to be able to receive some tracks, have the time to listen to it, and provide some feedback and discover some fresh new tunes that are filtered. So that's why we created Groover. And it's functioning in an easy way. It's a business model with micropayments. So musicians, they pay small amounts of money to contact the media, the radios, the labels of their choice, so they choose who they contact. They pay €2 by influencers. So for example, if they select 10 of them, they pay €20. But for that, we guarantee then that within a week, within 7 days, they're gonna get listened to and get at least feedbacks, written feedbacks on their music. Not forcibly like sharings and stuff like that. It's not advertisement, but at least a feedback, like not feeling alone. And they can get much more. It's many opportunities, article, reviews, playlist ads. And if they don't get an answer within 7 days, they get their credit back and they can use them again. And in 1 year, we've been up for 1 year with a beta test version first, and now it's launched publicly. We got more than 30,000 artists using it, more than 50,000 submissions, and we have more than 250 music influencers, or creators, record labels, media, radio stations that are currently active on the platform.
Can we say it's, I know it's evolution, but can we say it's the end of the old-fashioned way of being seen by a media, and also the old-fashioned way of being a press officer?
I really don't think so. I think maybe the old-fashioned way, the emails and stuff, maybe it's gonna disappear if we are like successful enough and we able to have like be this catalyst of the connection. Maybe it will disappear. But on the PR officer side and the PR agents, I'm pretty sure it won't disappear, because we have, for example, I was talking about artists a lot, but 30% of our user base, of our customers, are actually PR officers, PR agents, record labels, managers who are using Groover for their artists in order to push them to the media and the radios. And they use it, but they don't only do that. It's like a complement to their activity. They also have their network, their contact. And I think a PR officer is also a curator in a way. Because you receive, I was talking with a lot of PR officers, and they were telling me that they were rejecting 9 out of 10 of the requests they receive to defend a band. So in that way, they select only 10% to work with. And they do a pre-filter of the artists they want to contact. But what is cool with Groover, it brings diversity, and it can put an artist who gets some reviews, who gets some radio plays in the radar of some cool PR agents, of some cool labels, and be able to do this beginning of the career of the promotion that is so complicated in order to stand out there. I think it's 40,000 new tracks on Spotify each day, and how to get out of this massive amount of number, and you need all the help you can get in order to get some legitimacy, to get some streams, to get some visibility. And I don't think it will disappear. I think it's evolving. Like even PR officers like yourself, because we didn't say, but you're a PR officer also. You do lots of different things, but just like sending emails to people. And I think all the jobs in the music industry are evolving. And of course, on this side, it will evolve. It won't disappear.
Okay. To finish, you can answer both now to this last question. how to get noticed, but how to get monetized, also for the artist. Then in this way, do the artists have to change the way they are making music to have this maybe 30 seconds to be monetized on Spotify playlist? And do they have to change the way to get noticed and to receive money then?
I think it's a hard question to answer because, yes, for example, you mentioned the 30 seconds stream, so you have to take it into account. But
or to make come the chorus earlier in the...
Yeah, but I prefer to enter in an artistic way because I often talk with Spinnup artists, for example, and new artists, emerging bands, and I think in a universal or music business position, what is working is like artists who have like a real personality and universe, and then I think the first thing that we say is like never change and never adapt your way to make music. So I think it's maybe you have to think like to a strategy, like how and when will I release my tracks, for example? Will I release a track by track, or will I release an album, or in my album will I put interlude or something like that? But I think that they can't change the way to imagine their music and the way they do it, because it would be the bad way to have good results with the public and with like the editors. And you can play with the playlist, because if you had, you might be really impactant with one track sometimes, because if it's well playlisted, if you contact the right editor, it might be like more efficient than if you try to adapt like a content or a mixtape just to have like more chance to be streamed. So I don't think.
And what's your opinion?
I think you're right. It's on the strategy is totally changing with like streaming platforms, but I think the artistic part, so the creation part, what the artist does, you said in his room, in a studio, it won't change that way. I think maybe there's something fun, but it's gonna change with how music is cut. Like, I don't know if you know this track by Pink Floyd called Shine On You Crazy Diamond that is like 13 minutes long, and it has, I think, 3 parts in the first track. Probably Pink Floyd, if they were releasing today, they would do it as 3 different tracks, because it would like help them get 3 streams for like one listen of the song. I guess maybe it can change on that way, but I don't think it's gonna change a lot, because what I learned, I think, is that the radio was doing the same. The radio was asking for radio edits that were 3 minutes long, and it didn't change that much how the creation was done. There were some radio edits that were made, but at the same time, we heard about like a Led Zeppelin and a Stairway to Heaven, which was the first track that was like 6 or 7 minutes long to get on the radio. And I think it will change. Maybe we'll have more and more tracks that are maybe 2 minutes long and not 3 minutes long, but it won't change a lot because the radio already changed that.
No, and as you say, I think it's more the strategy which needs to change.
Yeah, definitely.
And for example, if you need to have a radio edit, you can just, or if you want to have more stream, you can just have 2 tracks, like one long and one radio edit on a playlist, and then it's the same. So maybe just release more or release different,
yeah, release more.
Just not change the song as it was, because
I agree with you. It's not like on the creation. It's as you said. Sometimes you're gonna release only tracks, not albums, but like tracks on a very regular basis, because Spotify actually remunerates that. Likes that. When you release a track and then 2 months later you release another track, and then 2 months afterwards you release another track, you start to get into the algorithm of Spotify and get into release radar and these kind of like playlists. So it's going to change that way. And at the same time, like some artists, like they release an album and maybe 1 year later they release a remix album. Yeah. So you play on your creation, you do some new products with it, but you won't change your creation at the basis.
Yeah, EP or mixtape.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And remix and like deluxe edition or something like that. But as it was before with the physical way, I think so.
Okay. If you want to go further, let's talk after this. Then let's go to the next one.
Thank you. Yep.